If you're trying to make any kind of meaningful, effective change in your life, you've come to the right place. Good day, ladies and gents. Welcome to another episode of We're Talking Shift. So, today, well, let me just say this. He's back. So, let me do this. I thought about this and I'm having so much fun. So, just bear with me. I'm going to do this. In the gray shirt, weighing in at, I don't know, 180 pounds. Am I close?
2 pounds off. That's
okay.
perfect.
That's pretty
You're right
good.
there. Yeah.
That's pretty good for ever only seeing you from
I'm
the
naked.
chest up.
I'm naked most of the time. So you can see me.
That's true. I have seen you just about fully naked. We'll talk about that later, folks. Well, that should be a compelling reason to stick around.
I know.
Okay. So let me start over. In the gray shirt, weighing in at approximately 180 pounds, the man formerly known as Dr. Tommy John, the man who gets the most appearances on the We're Talking Shift podcast award, the man who wields a sword like a samurai, lays on the sidewalk, and cuddles with the stray cat he calls Omi, the man who, like yours truly, likes to make shift happen, folks. He is back.
Oh man, that was outstanding. That's
You
the
like
best I've ever had by far. I need to rewrite my bio, and that has to be it. That's
thank you very much. Okay, so longtime listeners, you already know Not Dr. Tommy John from the past six episodes that we have done together. Yes, new listeners, prepare to enter the world of naked TJ. We'll explain that later. If you feel you need a bio or you just want to hear all the good shift we've talked about in the past, just go check out all the past episodes, 73, 77, 82, 89, 95, and 120. Today, he's here. We're going to talk about mindset, health, disease, personal responsibility. Maybe you do a little reprimanding, have a little vent sesh. I don't know, just all kinds of important stuff. So welcome back, my friend.
I love it. I don't even know what to say. I have nothing. You built me up so much. But honestly, it's more impressive. What you just listed is so much more impressive to me. Like if I heard somebody now and you gave like credentials and degrees and licensures and all these things, or you shared what you shared, like along those lines, I would want to hang out with the latter, with the other person.
Right? I know. I mean, and it's not to minimize because I know those things are important to other people, but I know for you, you've had a change of mindset. I don't know. Maybe you want to just talk about that for a quick second before we jump into your recent story of transitioning.
I think, and we've talked about it, like 2020 was a great year for me. It was one of my best of my life. And the work I've put in, the realizations, like I know I'm doing the work because things are becoming so obvious. Like it's just so, it's not easy, but it's very simple to see where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to do, who I'm supposed to be with, who I'm supposed to like kind of put myself like amongst, you know what I mean? There's a lot of these divisions coming up and a lot of stuff. Capital T truth is becoming very hard to hide now. And like if it's true, it's just so freaking obvious true that it's like, oh my gosh, that if there's any kind of wrinkle or any weak foundation or any principle or any flaw or any lie or any, it's going to be found, and it's going to be found right now. And that's what I've been loving, but I've been pulling back more and more and looking at all that's going on and looking at all the current systems and looking at my past and looking who I was, who I want to be, where I want to take this. And it came to where I had planned on burning those degrees. I had three degrees: a bachelor's in arts, health and exercise science, a master's in health and exercise science, and a doctorate in chiropractic. When I look back at who I am now, what I'm doing for society and for the globe and for, as a profession, my service, those degrees provided nothing. And I'm flat out meaning nothing. When you look at those degrees, the undergrad and masters were an absolute joke. And all I wanted to do was play professional baseball, but you were supposed to go to college is what we were told, right? You go to college and you stand in line and you go to all your classes that you don't care about. You pay $250,000 and you go do and then that's it. And if you had a scholarship, great, but whatever, then you're indebted to the school forever because they're going to want, okay. So I just wanted to play pro baseball. I fell ass backwards into 2 degrees that I used nothing, but it was so just like impressive that I had 2 degrees. I'm like, you don't really realize I was like drunk most of the time. I didn't care most of the time. And I played pro ball after, like, they were stupid and they didn't apply. So that's no big deal, undergrad. Well, then you get into, I've said all systems need to crumble. You get into the chiropractic accreditation and the school. And this is one of the best vitalistic programs in the country because there's like 19 programs, I guess, or so. And there's only like 2 or 3 that really stand for the body healing itself and like promoting from within, surprisingly. And it's chiropractic, right?
Yep.
So the system is set up. Now it's so clear because of what's happened in 2020. The system is set up to where the most classes we had were to detect tumors. They were literally 9 quarters of classes so that we could detect tumors in spine, so that we could refer out and we won't get in trouble and our license will be protected. I'm like, wait, if you're practicing medicine, real medicine is not dangerous. You don't have anything to fear. If you're practicing from a place of whole and bigger than you, and you're open and you're connecting to human, what are you doing that's dangerous? Now, all you other ones that I don't even know what you're doing, if you need to be protected by some license and some malpractice because what you're doing isn't medicine, then that's dangerous stuff. And we know the allopathic model is dangerous because it's 3rd leading cause of death, arguably, in the United States, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Medical error or whatever. And that's only the reported ones. Like my brother was suicide. I'd say he was medical error, from
Right.
those previous, for people who didn't know, go to previous episodes and you learn about psychiatric care and that. My experience in it, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So why would we do so many tumor classes? Well, it's to protect you chiropractors. Really? Because if we detect a tumor of any kind, where do we send them? Into the model.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get an average of, I guess, $750,000 for every cancer patient. So you have thousands of chiropractors all over the world, country, funneling back into this shit system. Now, what's the rest of the chiropractic program? Orthopedic tests, a bunch of joint stuff, really stuff that they make you think is out of your scope, which I had a training background for 10 years prior to chiropractic school. So I could have taught the entire program, like just from my experience with Vladi and John in the injuries and performance. So we get in there and I'm like, everything is detecting a problem, diagnosing, labeling, take insurance was a class, and then refer out, like adjust because that's chiropractic, do a little bit of PT, but it was like just crap. It was like worse than like what real PT is. And then it was just refer out. So again, it was just this referral engine.
Yeah. It's like you're part of the conveyor belt.
That's it. And like, of course, I started thinking, because I have Dr. Cassie Huckabee as my naturopath, and picking her brain and what she's doing with work and having people cure themselves of these incurables in minimal time, minimal visits with her, meaning it's all on the person. And I'm like, is it possible that this whole thing needs to crumble? What was your school like? And she said, Bastyr in San Diego. I'm gonna throw them under the bus. One of the best naturopathic programs in the country. Same shit. They just set it up to funnel back in or to do the same thing. So now I start to think, why do these programs exist? Because what happened to Wikipedia? Do you remember during this whole thing, what they did?
Yeah. With labeling everything that was alternative medicine as pseudoscience.
Okay.
Yes.
So they never liked us from the beginning. We knew
Right.
from the Flexner report in the early 1900s, they weren't going to let us exist. So if you truly have any awareness or idea of how to get people in positions to heal themselves, you're not curing anything, because nobody cures anything. The person does. They'll try to strip your license. They will not let you exist, or they'll kill you. Literally. Like if you've got some cancer cure, or you got something like literally that people are, you're gone. You're suicided, like gone. So I'm like, these are the best schools. How do they even exist? Well, the school bows down to the accreditation powers, which is running this whole show, and they're allowed to exist by playing by their rules. So that's when I was like, you know what? And there's a lot of us, my degree is gone. I burned my degrees, which mean nothing. I mean, it wasn't really a stance. It was burning a piece of paper, right? but it's what it stood for.
Right.
And then now I'm going to, I let my malpractice go, and the next is license. I'm no longer doctor. I covered up the doctor on my door
I
and my
saw that.
road sign. And but again, here's another thing. There's so much divide that led to the ability for this whole thing to split us and take over and do these things. Is a doctor or somebody who is involved in medicine really any different than you or I or somebody next to us? Or no? And this whole tiered system, and people are higher or more, you know, authority. Like, what the hell is authority?
Yeah.
Like, we're sovereign over ourselves. We have authority over ourselves. So I want literally to be naked, and it's not clothes off. I just want stripped. We're all naked. We're all human on this path of living. And that's what that whole gesture was and where I'm headed. And Loree, like, practice is like improving. Like, people love like truth. They love the capital T truth.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. And I'm so glad that you said that though about college. Because I wanted to be like a metaphysical psychologist when I was getting out of high school. And I just freaking couldn't get myself to go to college. I hated school every day of my entire life since I started kindergarten. Once I finally got out of that, I was like, there is no way. So poof, those dreams are gone. Cut to, I discover there's such a thing as life coaching. And so I was able to do ultimately what I really wanted to do was just, help you
Yeah.
get a grip on your life and figure out what you want to do and how to get there.
Right.
And I would have wasted probably, at least 8 years doing that, trying to get these degrees and accreditations. And I can't tell you how many clients, TJ, I've had that have worked with me saying, I just made more progress with you in one session or two sessions than in 5 years of therapy. Or I have been on medication and now I'm from 7 down to 1 because of working. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's more than one way to be of service and to help people than the standard traditional ways. So I'm glad you said that, because sometimes, I've caught myself wondering, should I go back? Should I, now that I'm, older, more mature, do I need those? But I don't. I'm like, then I ask myself, what do I need that for? I'm doing really well the way things are going right now. And frankly, everything you just said really, that means a lot to me too, because it just gives me like, okay, there are people like you that are going, this is worthless.
And I've talked maybe 18 people out of going to chiropractic school this year, and just share with them the truth. Now, I'm not trying to sway them. I'm just like, here's the information. You go do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? But just understand, when you do get out, you're not going to be prepared to be anything. And you're going to be 250K in debt. And then the pressure of all this shit. Lauren, you're Lauren Geertsen, right? She created a title. I mean, it's such a great story. That's what people are doing. They're just coming up with, what's the title? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Human.
Yeah. I'm a personal performance coach. I help you perform better in your own life.
That's
period. We don't compartmentalize because you can't. It's all connected. Yeah. So let's work with the whole person. That's and it. let's help you get figured out. You know what I mean?
We're all just humans.
Hey, can you see my shirt? It's not. Can you see it?
It's not rocket science. I love it. It really is not. I mean, it's so simple. Like, my God. And it's becoming just more and more clear. And I'm now, my last F is gone. My last fuck is gone. I mean, I lost it last weekend, and somebody's like, you had some? I'm like, I had a couple left. They're gone. Now I'm just like letting it go. And I feel better. Our experience is better. Like, we are better with people who interact with us are better. That's what I see the possibility of. That's what I'm excited about, because this is for everyone. It's okay for everybody. And that's what I'm trying to get people to see. There's a massive opportunity right now. Right. You can do this. You can take this. It's not just my luck, and it's not just Loree's luck and Lauren's luck. Like, there's a lot of us thriving and kicking ass and also suffering and feeling very strongly about what's going on. We're just trying to let you know You can do
Yeah.
that, you know?
Yeah, it's trying to let other people know simply by your demonstration. What are you doing? Because you can't. Sometimes it's not about trying to win, to be right, to have a better idea. It's just this is what I'm doing, and this is what's working for me. Maybe it'll work for you.
Right? That's so somebody's just like, what do you do? I'm like, I just want you to see that I'm just doing the same thing every day. It's just over and over with a little more intention, a little more intention. Because yesterday I'm better, like I'm more adaptable today. So I'm just going to keep going. How
Yeah.
are you not bothered? Somebody messaged me, how are you not bothered with all this? How are you not stressed out? There's no room for it, first of all. And I always joke, I'm like, I'm too busy sunning my balls. I, because literally, like, you could say whatever, but like, be too busy sunning your balls,
Yeah.
whatever that means.
Because because that's just the thing. I mean, yeah, whatever that means to you.
Whatever that means. It doesn't have to be literal.
But that's just it. I mean, if you let all of the if you perceive everything is chaos and then you let that disturb you all day, then that is where your mindset is. That is what's going on up here now is chaos and negativity and confusion, and it's taking up valuable real estate in your mind. And I mean, like you, I've got things I care about. I want to, I like you, I just want to take a stand on certain things. I have certain beliefs, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to devote strong emotion to what I think is going on that's not so good, or buy into the belief of any of the fallacies and delusions that are, being pushed around. And we don't have to talk, in detail about exactly what that is. Everyone knows what we're talking about, but the mindset is so key.
Yeah.
You have to mind your mind. You have to be so protective of what is going in and what takes up real estate there and what you are focusing on and what you are fueling with your emotion. Because if you're caught up in what you think is, disaster and chaos, that's exactly what you're going to experience.
Right.
Right?
The Dr. Joe Yee brought it up, and this was the big on the mindset. This was a post I made before I got deleted the first time. He asked me on a Clubhouse. I was on. He's like, "Yo, get on the HFFH Clubhouse for 10 minutes." I'm like, "Okay, I'm walking the beach, fine. I don't do these during the week at night. It's like nighttime." I'm like, "Dude, okay." He asked me, "What book are you reading? Any books?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm reading David White Essentials. It's a book of poems. He wrote it in 2020. It's beautiful. These things are beautiful in response to what's going on around us and just reconnecting in nature." And I shared that. He just asked me so that he could share what book he's reading. So I was like, okay. One of those questions, where
Uh-huh.
you really don't give a shit. And so I'm like, okay. Well, he was reading David Icke's book. Nothing against David Icke, but if anybody's seen a David Icke interview, the dude knows a lot of stuff and he shares a lot of things, right? And it's not rainbows and it's not sparkly and it's not. And so I sat there and I was like, what would I want humanity reading? The humanity that I want to be with, the new earth that I want to be with. I'd rather have them read David White Essentials, poems, love, feeling, nature, be aware that the David Icke facts are still there, like be aware. But that was where I made that video where we've become experts on really bad things.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I think that's what powers that be want us to do. They want us to spend all this time researching the stuff that's total crap, that they're controlling the info to us, and we're arguing with their book. Like, you're arguing with their material. What are you talking about? And so people have become experts on stuff that means nothing. And that's why I'm like trying to bring back the mindset of become an expert in yourself, become an influencer
Yes.
of yourself.
Yes. Yes. So, okay. So before we get any more into that, do you recently helped found an organization and then you recently left said organization,
Yes.
correct,
Yeah.
Amundo? Do you want to share about that real quick?
Of course I will. And everybody knows I'm an open book. So if you're going to do something to me, you're thinking long and hard because I'm going to talk about it because it's life, right? Like there's
Right.
censoring of anything. Like I'm just done with that. And this is what ended up happening. So I helped found Health Freedom for Humanity with Alec Zeck. Alec is a tremendous person. He is a gem, like literally such a good dude. And where he wanted to take this, I was on board, and I started getting people on board. And we all said, you know, this is a hill we'll die on. This is what we're going to give. It's bigger than our brand. I put it ahead of my business even. I was doing podcasts while clients were doing stuff, and they understood. I was like, listen, this is the biggest thing I've ever done in my life. I'm behind this 110% because I'm not going to take it on unless I'm totally behind it, especially this. Well, then we started getting more and more people and more and more people. And I started to look at some of the people coming in, and not that I agreed with them, but that doesn't matter because it's okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't have to agree with them.
Right.
But I'm still posting the way I post, and I'm still sharing the way I share. And I dive hard, and I knife, and I will hold nothing back. Well, there were some people getting very defensive, and some people DMing me in the groups that were thinking I was attacking them personally. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I'm attacking the system. Both sides of the system in medicine need to come down. Schools need to come down. Food needs to come down. Like, I'm very open about this. Well, there were some people getting upset, which if you're getting triggered by me just stating, then clearly you don't have faith in your approach to,
Right.
you know, right. And so I'm like, okay, well, this waited for a while. Alec was like, dude, can you just like pull back on, you know, maybe word things. And I started to sit there, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable being managed like this, especially on something so critical. And all my posts are, stop editing yourself, stop erasing, don't censor yourself, like just let it out. We need authenticity now more than ever. And I'm editing, and I'm like, I just don't feel good about this. And he knew it. He's like, I can't tell you what to do. You know, he's like, I love you, brother. And he's such a great guy. So that lasted about 3 weeks. And then I like sent, you know, I posted again, and it's a text, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Finally, he asked me to step down as a leadership role. He heard from 3 or 4 people that a leader in this group can't speak how I'm speaking in a freedom group. This is a freedom group. So I'm like, wait a second. This is exactly what we're fighting. This is exactly what we stand for, is this acceptance and this voice of everybody. Like what? Well, it's where I want to take it, and I was like, I realize you're in a tough spot, man. And you're having to like manage all these voices and all these personalities and all these, but this isn't a good move in my head. Like, this is not a good move, dude. So he had me step down as vice president of this Health Freedom for Humanity. Okay. And again, I'm so chill because I'm not going to spend energy on like fighting to hold. I'll fight for the cause and the principle, but I'm not fighting for the semantic of the title and all this other bullshit, right? So I was like, all right, I'll just do the podcast then. Well, then 2 days of this, I'm like, I don't feel good. And this is important with what we were talking about before. When we do the work, the massive amount of work, there are no more choices for me. It's literally just going, and if it feels right, do. If it doesn't, it's gone. And it's just so obvious. I just keep going, and it has to make sense. It has to feel good. Like well, you mean everything? Like even the difficult decisions, you know, feel right. Does that make sense? Like you just feel. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it feels right.
Yeah, it's not complicated.
No. And so that whole thing didn't feel right. And I let him know. I messaged him on Friday, and I was like, we had a great podcast Thursday night with Nick Wallace from Wallace Farms, my farm in Iowa, and it was fantastic. And I said, Alec, I'm sorry, but we have to break up. I made it a breakup message. You know, I'm like, it's not you.
It's me.
You know, it's me. And I was like, honestly, I'm just not feeling it. And that's all you need to know. Like, we don't need to get into all this stuff. I'm just not feeling it anymore. It's totally cool. And I think you have my leather jacket, and I left my toothbrush at your Like I kind of joked around, right?
I love it.
And so he laughed hysterically, you know, and got back. He's like, dude, I totally get it. And he's like, I'm in a tough space, because he's going to have to find out how you become popular while holding principle. And I don't think those two go hand in hand. Like I don't think there's, so it's going to be growing pains, you know? And
exactly.
but here's the thing though. what could have happened if I'm him? One, it doesn't get to this point, but let's just say I spiraled and I didn't know. I'm putting me and him on a live. And I'm saying, listen, we represent health, freedom for humanity. It's come to our attention that a lot of people get aggravated and are upset by Tommy John's posts. But you know what we stand for? Support of his voice. We stand for, I mean, you could have made this like the biggest example on what's happening right now. Instead, it was this whole, I mean, basically they deplatformed me, censor me. It's no different than IG. That's it.
Exactly. And how many times have you been whacked on IG now?
Twice.
Couple times, which is why his new IG handle is naked TJ.
TJ underscore. Naked TJ was the first. That got deleted somehow.
Right. That was number 2.
And now Omi's running my page, the cat, the neighborhood cat.
Omi the cat.
My name sets off this algorithm, so I can't. So it's Omi.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you find him, everybody. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? You went for it, and things change.
Great. And this is what's so great is like it's life. Like it was such a great experience. I got to be on the inside of a startup of a nonprofit during the most tumultuous time maybe ever. Like, and I'm smarter for it. I'm sharper for it. I'm wiser. Yeah. He is for sure. I'm like, dude, we're still friends. Like, let's communicate this thing. I can't wait to see where you go. I can't wait to see where I go now that this freed up. Holy shit. Like but what was lifted, the burden, because I stood for something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I stood for something in the face of the freedom group.
Yes. How ironic.
Oh my God.
But you know what? That's such a good point though, because when I think that a lot of people are really, they're either struggling with their own value system or they never had one solid value system that they embraced to begin with. And when you don't have a solid value system and you know where your line in the sand is and you know where your standards are, then you're going to be yanked in every direction. Yep. You are going to have trouble making what is the right decision for you. When you have that personal constitution, even if it's a little bit of a hard decision, it's not complicated. All you got to do is go, what are my values? What are my standards? What is my line in the sand? What is it going to cost me if I breach that? It's not rocket science. No, but it is hard for a lot of people because so many people are really, well, it's just the groupthink, the fear of rejection, the fear of being, outside the loop of whoever you deem your people to be, just, it keeps people off their game. It keeps them from figuring out what their core values are and what they really stand for. Not only just right now, but what about tomorrow? What about 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What about your kids? Your standards and values have a domino effect. Yeah. But I digress. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about. You know what I'm really curious about? You work with a lot of young people, don't you? Yeah. You have. Yeah. Because I recently started something targeting young people. And I'm curious as to what you're seeing with the mindset of, when I say young, like, 15 to 21-ish. What are you seeing with what's been going on lately? What are their new challenges?
So the fact that they're having to weigh out like what college to go to based on sharing their medical beliefs, and that in addition to just the difficulty of that decision. I mean, I can say I didn't like it, but it was just like, it was a tough decision, in addition to just being a teen. So that's one. I have, I know a few who are already in the college circuit in athletics, and they're not making the shot mandated, but they're highly suggesting that the athletes take them. Well, now the ones that I've spoken with or just know me are like, this doesn't seem right. I'm not saying it's wrong, wrong for you or whatever, but they're just like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
There may be they're one of two, maybe at most on a team. So they're a huge minority. And then, so that's going to be difficult and it's not like a minority, like where we just leave it. Like, oh, you just chose that, you chose this. Like, let's just coexist. Right.
Yeah.
No. So now the shaming and the guilt and all this stuff. And God forbid we have a yearly thing of detox that's like a flu or cold that we just always have. Who's going to get the blame? This one person on the team. And then their life is outed as a person in America in 2021. What are you talking about? And then the segregation, all that on a teen mind and teen emotions and teen so there is that difficult choice. It's already peer pressured as it was. Now you have peer pressure around medical decisions and medical decisions that apparently affect the globe is how it's being positioned, right? And it's just like, I mean, either way, because now they're saying like the people who have gotten it can harm the people. That story's spinning out. It's again, you and I can handle this. You have a teenager trying to process the world and feelings and all these desires of everything, trying to come into their own. I really feel for them. But then none of the decision, I mean, this we could probably spread across the world. The decisions that they're making aren't based around health. They're just based around keeping societal status and being able to travel and go to college. Never was it around health. And I'm like, but I do love this. I have some of the families I've spoken with, the parents have allowed the teen to decide, which I thought was interesting. And I kind of like that, because in no way hell would it have been that way in our family. It would have been this demonstrative, authoritative, you are doing exactly what we're telling you to do. And I would maybe would have run away or something, you know what I mean? But but they've said, what are you going to do? They'll ask them, hey, what are you going to do? So I heard that for the first time, which I thought was kind of cool. Like, I was like, wait, that's happening. Huh.
That's good. And hopefully that'll keep happening. My guess, because I don't know what I'm talking about, but my guess would be that's probably not the majority, because most parents are obviously instilling their beliefs into their kids naturally. So that's scary. That's super freaking scary to me. But when it comes to shooting things into your body, but
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me, the thing with the kids really, if anything's going to take up real estate in my brain, that's it. That's why we did this course. I mean, helping these kids that already are they're already dealing with so much, even when it's not this situation. Now to throw this on top of it, it's just, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of words that I probably shouldn't say right now, but
here's something else. Think of this. This is an intangible that people won't talk about. One of them expressed through a text. He's like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm really struggling right now. What's up? One of my friend's dads died right after the shot. Well, he's going through that in his mind, but his parents just got it. So he's having to process. I mean, and I'm just like, man, honestly, like, I'm so sorry for your friend. Be there for your friend. Like just go take care of that.
Yeah.
Listen, you can't undo what your parents have done. So all you can do is love the shit out of them and try to be just the healthiest version. Like, I tried to really bring back focus on, I mean, it's scrambled, right? I mean, it's already, so that's why I got people in my office, because everyone's like, are you seeing vaccinated people? Yes, I am. Well, they're human beings. Why the hell would I not? Well, what about shedding and all this? I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I'm not fighting that. I don't believe in any of it. But I will absolutely love up on these people who have made this decision for themselves. And then here's the thing, though, I'll tell them, just like I told this gentleman, like, don't read my whiteboards. Don't listen to our podcasts. You've already gotten it. They've already gotten it. You don't want any more information. Like, you just make it a different reality for you and just move forward and go. But imagine that. Imagine your friends mom or dad dies. Like, we know
Mhm.
what death is. Like, we know how to process. I mean, we're aware of processing it, but because of this thing do, that you might be under the gun to have to make a very difficult decision. And I mean, how do you process that in a
No.
16, 17, 18-year-old brain?
N Probably not well.
They can't rent a car, but they're supposed to process this, like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
my God.
shameful. It's
Yeah.
shameful that anyone's being put in that position. It's just utterly shameful. So, okay, let's talk for a minute. We got about 20 minutes or so. I'm keeping an eye on the clock for you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what was up for you with the shopping carts the other night.
So
That was
again,
a good one.
if you see my videos, nothing's planned. I'm just like usually walking, and then I just get like something comes across and I'm like, I'm just gonna go off right now. And I just like hit play or hit record and I go. So it's just this fresh. So I got out of my car and I always park the farthest at the grocery store, and I'm walking and I saw two carts and the parking lot's totally empty. And I'm just like, you know what? And I always bring them back anyway. And I was, oh man, I was vibrating. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And the whole thing was, we think we're this evolved species, this dominant species in nature, that we're so, when you got trees that are communicating better than we are and taking care of each other better than we are, and cats have more intelligence. I would literally get a cat as a doctor over an MD or an ND. I'm telling you right now, like the 99.999%, I have a better chance of staring a cat in the eyes and trying to think about what they're listening to or whatever, than I would anything of this evolved nature that we think we are. We can't put, they put those cart kiosks in the middle because nobody wanted to walk it up. Now we don't walk it up. And that's the thing. You keep changing the standards for America, and we just keep lowering it and lowering
Mhm.
it and lowering it and lowering it. And here we are. And then it triggered, if you really think that things are better, that if this all ended right now, somehow we'd be okay, we'd be far worse, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. We're far worse. And then that spiraled out that we can't bring a cart to a kiosk in the middle. How are we supposed to make this
Yeah.
decision on what's important? Your value, you got it, your values and beliefs, where it does stem from that. Now, I don't make my bed, but I don't like it made. It's just a comforter. And it's laid there. So I feel like I do a bunch of other shit later in the day that like takes up for
So
my not,
so you don't subscribe to Admiral William
I
McRaven's,
know. I'm
like, if
like,
you
I don't
wanna
know.
change the world, start by making your bed?
I'm a pretty disciplined dude, brother, and I just don't make my bed, and it's okay. But I will help everybody else out there, and I will clean up after myself, and I will do things. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I just think it all, how you do one thing is how you do everything, and there's just little
That's, like,
clues.
my favorite quote.
Yeah,
How you do anything is how you do everything.
clues
And
for
you know
sure.
what? And yeah, there are exceptions. Like maybe you don't make your bed, but but it's probably a mindful not making my bed.
But here's the thing: if my bed, now it's like, well, what about you? If my bed somehow inspired, or somebody saw me doing it, and then that triggered something that was like, hey, because I'm moving carts and like taking them back in, like you
Mhm.
watch that, and somebody's like, that woman was carrying two children and she still returned her cart, or that guy had,
Yeah.
a cane and he still returned his cart. Like there's just like these
Yeah.
things, you know?
Well, it kind of it's just an indication, I think, of a sense of personal responsibility,
Uh,
right? And I mean, it's personal responsibility, and I love, love, love this Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life. Set your house in order
yeah.
before you criticize the world. And it feels like, well, this isn't anything new, people minding everybody else's business, but it seems like more than ever right now, we got a lot of people trying to fix the world and fix your thinking and your life. And before they're putting their own house in order, their ducks aren't in a row. They've got their own work to do. But in order to just not focus on the work you need to do yourself. It's all going out there. We're going to fix everybody else. And so we're seeing so much of that. And that was just kind of what the whole put your damn cart away vent session to me was indicative of the larger thing. Like, just do your job, take care of your own life. If everyone focused on their own life and cleaning up their own messes and getting their own minds straight, and having as much respect for everyone's, role and purpose and where they're at in life. I mean, man, that would just go a
Like,
long way.
absolutely. Absolutely. I heard finally somebody else said it. You're worried about saving the planet, saving others, saving lives. Like, focus on yourself. What have you done today? And now I'm getting upset, Loree. And you heard this in a hot boxing with TJ session in my infrared, where I said, if you're not better, if you're not a healthier version of yourself today than yesterday, you're pissing me off because you're affecting me. And now
Yep.
you're affecting my world. And I'm not going to take that, because your responsibility to the globe, to society, is to be a better, healthier version than you were yesterday. And if you're not, now you're getting on, now you're starting to come in my space. And I'm not liking that. And we never
Yeah.
speak that way. You know what I mean? It's always like, well, I mean, no, that's our one responsibility right now.
I agree. That like 1,000%. That is, again, everyone just take a breath. Just take a breath and take that spotlight that you are beaming out all over the planet and turn it around and point it at yourself and
Yep.
your own thinking and your own life and focus there. How about we all just mind our own business for a while and do it really well and just step up and become a better version of yourself. I mean, if I don't feel like I'm a little bit smarter or know a little bit more about myself every day than I did the day before, I'm like, I lost a day. You know what I mean? I have to go to bed and read at night. So I'm like, okay, I know, I feel that I've connected, and then you start the day out that way and you just keep moving forward. Everyone is already doing everything that we do as humans. We think, we're doing, and we're thinking, and we're doing, and we're thinking. But not everybody is doing and thinking very consciously or on purpose
Yeah.
or with a very specific higher perspective and direction that they're going. You know what I mean? So I want to just say, let's remind everyone
Yeah.
of,
Let's do it.
I know we've talked about them before, but I don't think we can talk about them enough. I think that your 8 essentials, and then I'm going to invite you to add one more, my favorite, my thing. Let's talk about it because it is so important. If everyone just took a breath and went, how can I be a better version of myself? How can I up level my thinking? How can I raise my consciousness? How can I, you know what I mean? Just be a little bit healthier. How can I be better to my family? All the way around. You can and it doesn't cost you any money, by the way.
No.
It's not expensive. You don't have to go see a therapist. You don't have to buy, everything at Whole Foods.
No.
You don't have to have a gym membership.
No.
Right? So,
So
number 1.
Here we go. Number
Here we
1,
go.
a belief in something greater than yourself. Just some bigness. You got to have to just see the bigness. Well, here's the thing too. If you write down these in linear fashion and you make a paragraph of what they are and what they mean to you, and it's private to you, you don't have to share it with anybody. It's not to be criticized or judged. And I have a hard time. So what if I mention something after me mentioning these? This is just my interpretation of it. It does not mean it's yours. Whatever that means. And then split each 8 into 2 columns, medicine and toxic. Because you're going to take an inventory and be like, the things I do that are medicinal in this 8, in one of these 8. And you just have these lists going on. And then you have a friggin' working contract with yourself, and you've got the secret to life. It's just take the toxics and cross them off or move them over to medicine and increase the medicine. You literally will just improve everything. It's right there. Okay, so belief in something greater than yourself.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be in the religious context, like you said. Your belief might just be in the power of freaking nature and the weather, whatever, but something greater than you that feels like it resonates with your heart or your soul or your mind.
I always say, like, my church, I've been to many churches. We were raised, and I dated people that where it was of value to them, so I respected it, right? But I never felt closer to whatever the bigness was than when I'm outside in nature,
Hmm.
by the ocean, in a forest, literally staring at a cat in the eyes. Like, if you really get down to the bigness of it, is out. So
Yeah.
that belief in something greater than ourselves, greater than us, greater than man. Number two, purpose. Your purpose. I think my personal, it's just a service, again, a service more than me, a service above, bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It somehow, to me, I relate that is your purpose. To me, you most people that I've been working with, or from my own
yeah,
standpoint, it usually is the most fulfilling thing as far as a purpose goes, is being somehow contributing beyond yourself.
yeah,
And it doesn't have to be, I'm getting clean water for this town in Africa. It doesn't have to be that big. It can literally be, I'm being an amazing parent and raising amazing human beings.
done.
It doesn't have to be houses for humanity. It can be, but contributing on some level really fulfills the need of the soul, gives you a purpose.
I love it. And then number three, relationships. And what I say for me personally, it's those people that support your belief and your purpose, or the people that still support it, but they challenge you, which is kind
Hmm.
of what we're going to do. Just like put a mirror up in front of your face, give you the real talk, and drop it on you. And then everybody else, and this is what I've gotten really good at, everybody else, they're gone, out. It's too precious. Our lives, our time, our energy. Now we're seeing it's too valuable of a commodity. It's too
Yeah.
valuable. I don't have any time unless
Hmm.
you are in my belief system, in my purpose, and you're helping. You're out. You're out. I have zero time for you.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Number four, sleep and naps. Self-explanatory there.
I'm not a napper, but I know you are. A lot of people are. I
Yeah,
like literally once a year, I might catch a nap, but I'm just not. If I tried to take a nap, TJ, I would be laying there looking around my room, going, yeah,
maybe that's
trying
it.
to
Maybe that's
re.
it. What if you had like these breakthroughs? If you just like tried and you're just looking around, you have all these breakthroughs during your version of a nap.
True, true. But I mean, yes. So I get it though. I think if you are a person that is refreshed with a nap, freaking take a nap for sure. But
Even just like slowing down for 5 minutes. You know
pause.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
A pause. Turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do get that. But I think I agree though. Like quality sleep every night,
Oh yeah.
super important.
And a quality sleep environment. I know that
Yeah.
people have, stuff all over their beds and tech all over this, and the temperature's off, and it's noisy, and it's light comes in. It's like it should be a cave, man. A
Hmm.
cold,
Cold,
cold
dark.
cave. That's
Yes.
literally it. You walk into my room, it's like a cold friggin' cave. This is it.
Hmm.
You're gonna get some sleeping done. All right. So number five, breath meditation prayer.
Yes.
Version of those three.
Mhm.
Whatever. Because my aunt, she follows me pretty religiously, and she's like, I just don't meditate, but I pray every day. Is that good? And I'm like, Aunt, dude, like that's awesome. Like you're a
Yes.
badass meditator right there. But she's very grateful. She connects with that higher power, and she's
That's
gratitude.
that yeah, that's so sweet. And I find that too. People that say, I'm not good at it. I don't know how to meditate. It doesn't work for me. It's like just there's not a right way and a wrong way, right? This is about you just developing a relationship with that, whatever that is that's outside of you. And if you can't relate to that, if you're not, maybe prayer isn't your thing,
Yeah,
maybe meditating's not your thing, but man, then just sit down, and before you go to bed or in the morning when you wake up, I like to do both. When I go to bed, when I wake up, I I just run through the gratitude list because it just sets your brain in the right place to start the day. It
You, on that meditation, because I get that too, and that's what was intimidating before I started in 2014. It just seemed intense. It seemed something I wasn't capable of. It seemed a little mystical. I was sure I had to like grow my hair out and join like groups and yurts and live in a yurt and do
wear
all
a
this
man bun.
right man bun and not shave anything. I'm like, I don't know. But what I will say this, some people ask me all the time, I'm 20 years into my specialty of what I do. And they're like, are you still doing the stuff that you were doing, before? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, holding that position is still pretty hard. Like, I don't like, I'm not good at training. I'm good at consistently attempting it, but I suck at it. Why? Because if I was good at it, my body wouldn't change. So the thing with meditation is when you think you're bad, that's it. Like, that's the thing. Like, if it's not difficult, it's not changing you. So that's it. That's it. And I promise, Dr. Cassie calls them cosmic winks, synchronicities. It's those times where it all lines up and you're like, oh my gosh, did you see that? Like, those will start to happen.
Yes.
All the time.
All the time.
It's proof. It literally
Yep.
will happen. I'm telling you right now. But the difficulty is in that's what's changing you. If it was easy, it didn't. Like, my easiest meditations, I don't know. I feel, no, like, if I can slide into it, I'm like, nothing happens. It's a vanilla day. Stuff just kind of, but with those ones where I'm like, and I'm like, my legs are numb. Like, what do I got after this? And what did I do last night? And I'm starving. And that plane keeps going by. And man, the world. And then it's like, all of a sudden, when I come out of that, all this stuff starts happening. I can't describe it enough.
Yeah.
When you feel you don't do it right, that's when stuff's shifting.
Yeah.
My opinion.
I love it. There's just
Yeah.
I think that people are so uncomfortable being a little uncomfortable
Yeah.
for a little while
Yeah.
without something from the outside coming in
Yeah.
to do the work for you, to think you.
Right. But that's it. Again, if it's convenience is fine, but understand that you devolve slightly by choosing convenience. Just understand
Yes.
that. And if you choose convenience more often, you are going to be on a downward spiral.
Right.
So we have to make it challenging, stimulating.
Yeah.
Something has to happen. And
yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to be a little striving.
Yeah.
I mean, right? The grapes that are striving and searching deep for moisture make the best wine, right?
It's like, that's the struggle. The fruit struggles and then provides the best nutrients. Like,
yeah,
it's life. Like, it's just how we're designed.
Yeah.
And Dr. Cassie's seeing it with patients on that world. A lot of them don't want the work. It's not, and it's, they want to heal. And it's getting to the point where all of us involved in this are seeing a new level of outsourcing and irresponsible, not responsible, not accountable, and that's why I think we're all getting like, okay, we're just kind of cutting the cord. We need to stop this right now. Like, we can't go forward anymore. And so I think we're going to end this with a little more like, hey, at least my videos are, and I've gotten more, Loree, I've gotten more people who have responded to I said my last F is out. So I'm not going to, I will give you everything I got, but I'm not going to fluff you. And I'm not going to, it'll be this compassion, but in a different way that you've ever experienced.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I am like that, the DMs, like, I'll give a voice message in DMs and I'll send it back. And I like go at it, and I just go at it and unleash, but give them solution. Like here's where I would say, I don't just bash them and then just like this whirlwind of railing the person, but they come back like, my God, thank you so much. One, for responding. Thank you so much for giving it to me straight. Nobody's given it to me straight before. I'm willing to do. Thank you. Boom.
Yeah.
And,
I get that. I get that too. That's what I get when I'm working with clients. I
right?
just how, I mean, we could dance around and we could, soft shoe it, but it's just not my style and it's a freaking waste of time.
We don't have any
So
more
if
time now. You just said it. We don't have any more time.
it's a waste of time, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like let's get to it. If you really,
Absolutely.
really, if this is important to you, then let's just get to it and cut through the crap. It's tough love, but it's
That's it.
love.
It is love, and that's it. And it's love's not soft. Like that's what I like. Everyone's like, I'm like, no, we need to stop that.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's five.
Okay.
Breath meditation, prayer. Six, outdoor exposure. Everyone's kind of reduced it down to sunshine, but it's just outside.
Yeah,
Side, the other side of the window.
yeah.
Barefoot if you can, as little clothing as possible, not just for sun. You just want the elements exposed to your cells, to as many of your cells as you can, preferably your eyes. So
I like
sunglasses
it.
off, just let the eyes out.
Perfect. Perfect.
7, nourishment. Not just food, but what you read, what you listen to, who you're
Right.
around, the earth, air, the elements, the
Mhm.
sunshine, eating it,
Mhm.
breathing it, and then sourcing your food and where you get your food from. But just nourishment because it
Yeah.
is going to be a part of you.
Yeah.
Um,
Everything is coming in
that's it,
mentally, physically.
all of it,
Yeah.
all
Yep.
of it. And then
Yeah.
8 is movement.
Yes.
And again, it was what we were masters at when we were born, and we were supposed to, for the first, I mean, a 6-year-old, for normal, well, for minimal baseline brain development, supposed to move an equivalent of 6 miles a day. A 6-year-old. So that's
Wow.
to put in perspective what we adults should be doing. And just when somebody made a comment where I was doing some plank on my hands this like gnarly way, and I'm not saying do it. I'm just showing you what my stuff allows me to do.
Mhm.
And then and supposedly I'm aging or whatever that means, right?
Mhm.
So okay, so I somebody was like, oh, would you suggest, I mean, this is kind of tough, would you suggest, easing in, maybe you could suggest some other, it was very like, this is too much, give us
Ah.
something. And I was like, first of all, to the baby, this is a joke. Like what I'm doing, a baby would be like, bro, you don't even know where I came from. And then to everybody else, it's like, I want you to not wait for me to spoon feed it to you. Go
Mhm.
do whatever. I'm just doing a move. I'm showing you that I'm just doing something. So go try it. Go see what it
Yeah.
means to you. And
Yeah.
then they got back and they're like, oh, I got you. Thanks, TJ. Militant style, huh? And I'm like, militant. So that's militant, what I just said. And then I commented and was just like, we are not going to do well. If me planking on grass and suggesting that you just do it from your hands in this weird is militant. So again, just when you think you're doing enough, remember the 6-year-old who does 6 miles, that's minimum 6 miles a day of equivalent walking, crawling, climbing, skipping, hula hooping, you know,
That's
uh,
amazing.
all of
Is
it.
that like today's 6-year-old or is that
Well,
yesterday's
Well,
6-year-old?
so this was a Serbian neuroscientist. So of course it's not an American one. They would find some loophole in the science to be like, no, you don't have to do shit, and you can develop like an absolute brain dead zombie. Um, but no, the Serbian neuroscientist, he's just saying, look, we are devolving at rapid rate, and so
Yeah.
he's just like, this is what the standard is now. Is anybody reaching that? I'd say a majority are not, and so we have a reality check. This is what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
again, mom, dad, or aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, don't you, you need to. It's not like, hey kids, get your butts up while mom lays down. Like, wait, no. Like, let's do a family thing, or it comes from the top down. They're imitating you guys. So if you're moving,
Exactly.
the 6-year-old's moving 6 miles,
Yeah.
mom and dad better be going.
Yeah,
No,
you're modeling the behavior
yeah.
for them. Whatever you're doing, that's what you're teaching them.
Including consciously. So that's another thing. And I'm speaking in San Francisco this weekend, and I spoke at the Heart of Freedom rally not too long ago. And this was one of my biggest points. And I think it's going to be a big point, this next one. Our consciousness. So like, and just let me, because everyone's, even I say Dr. Cassie a lot because I've worked with her so much and talked with her so much that it's just,
Mhm.
she won't take on pediatric cases because the mom and dad have to heal themselves first. And a lot of the times the mom and dads don't want to do any work. It's like, no, my child. Okay. But in order for child is an expression of you, and was seed and egg. And then even way before is the expression. So I've said something where if you're going and marching or protesting, or you're watching all the Bill Gates videos, or you're watching mass stuff, and you're going and speaking at the city council and doing all this stuff, and then you come home and you have an emotional affair on Facebook with some woman, or you wake up the next day and wife goes and carries on with some guy, the kids sense that, because consciousness is more infectious than any germ, as proven by Dr. Dawson Church and Lipton, right? So so just like what we're saying here, if you are trying to bring the family is affected by how you guys are thinking, feeling, imagining, picturing. We have to take care of all that.
We do. What's going on right now in your environment, in your home, in the present right now? I'm rereading again for the second or third time, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
And I literally just read, this is so perfect because I've got it sitting on my desk for something else, but I'm going to read it real quick. If you still have 2 minutes. And it's literally pertains exactly to what you just said. So I got to read it. In one of the many brilliant things that he says, quote, "You are making the present moment into an enemy. You are creating unhappiness, conflict between the inner and the outer. Your unhappiness is polluting not only your own inner being and those around you, but also the collective human psyche, which you are an inseparable part. The pollution of the planet is only an outward reflection of an inner psychic pollution. Millions of unconscious individuals not taking responsibility for their inner space." He then goes on to say, "Any negative inner state is contagious. Unhappiness spreads more easily than a physical disease. Through the law of resonance, it triggers and feeds latent negativity in others unless they are immune. That is highly conscious."
That's huge.
Right?
That's it. I mean, that's literally, I bring that up like randomly, and that's what you got sitting there.
I literally have
random.
it.
That's a synchronicity. This is what we're talking about. Like, that's it. This is just a prime example.
Perfect example.
Cosmic wink.
I love it. Okay, my friend, I'm saving all of the other bullet points I didn't get to until we meet again.
Part 7. Part 8.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. I was going to say, wait, I wanted to add one thing to your 8 essentials.
Get it.
This is my favorite. MYM, which is my mind, your mind. Practice the art of managing your mindset. Right? It's kind of what we were just talking about. Your level or degree of consciousness is connected to your mindset. And those two things, they determine the state that you move through life in, right? You can either move through life in a state of pessimism and negativity and victim consciousness and blame, or you can move through it in a state of optimism and positivity, personal responsibility for yourself and the state of your affairs. One sounds like freedom, and the other sounds like emotional bondage. So mind your mind.
Awesome. I love it.
You love it?
Boom.
In case you feel like adding it as a number 9.
With a little asterisk.
All right. I know you have to go, so I'm going to wrap it up. And everyone, I know that you got a lot out of this. Thank you, TJ, for hanging out with me yet again.
Always.
I love having you on, and keep doing what you're doing. Sunning your bits, whatever.
You're one of my biggest supporters. I know I'm like doing right when like there's a couple people, when you guys comment, I'm like, ugh, because I don't like aggravating people. Like I don't like get a thrive. I just like living and being, and I'm like, and it's just hate. And then there's a couple that are like, hey, this was spot on. I'm like, so
yeah, right. The strong arm or.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that one. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Love it. All right, everyone. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Share all of this good shift. Don't be greedy and keep it to yourselves. Help everyone wake the fuck up. We got to wake up, right?
I love it.
Till next week, stay feisty, my friends. Stay healthy, mind your mind, and go make some epic shift happen in your lives. You too, Gary V.
Boom.